Good afternoon, students. The next topic that we are going to study is reliability. Okay, we already saw about reliability in short. Now we'll see about reliability in detail. So this is one of the important tool and in research, and one of the criteria for the research to be good. So what is reliability? See, in human nature also we want people to be reliable. That is, they should do what they promise to do. Okay, if you tell your parents that you will get good marks and you get good marks, your parents will be happy because you are reliable, you have done what you have told them. Same way, a research is valid and valuable if it is reliable. So that is, it has consistency, it does what it is supposed to do. Okay, the measurement of any test is accurate, then it is called reliable. So in during research we do a lot of interventions, and that is, we do a lot of tests to find out if there is any effect or cause and effect relationship. So these tests have to be accurate and consistent. If they are accurate and consistent, then they are considered to be reliable. So reliability is very important. It is a statistical concept, actually it is part of statistics. So there are different tests in statistics, there are different types of research. So all these have to be reliable for the research to be valid, for it to be having good value. So the reliability can be checked by giving the test or administering the test to a group of people under same conditions. So the similar or appropriate conditions is very important, and in statistics it can be expressed by correlation coefficient. Okay, so as I said yesterday, I was telling about, in the previous class I was telling about giving examples about reliability, how a BP equipment or a blood pressure equipment has to consistently record the same values if all other conditions are the same. That is, same patient, same environment, same exercise status. So the patient has not walked up and down the stairs, he is stable on the bed, and he is not a patient with hypertension or hypotension. So that means his blood pressure is likely to be stable. So if we test the machine, it has to consistently give the same values. Then we can tell that the blood pressure measuring equipment is reliable. Okay, so this is just an example for you to understand. So there are different criteria for different equipment and different tests, and each of these tests, if they are reliable, they will give consistent values or consistent results during each of the tests under appropriate conditions. Okay, so that you have to understand. So as we read from this second paragraph, we can say a tool used for data collection must be reliable, and it must have the ability to consistently yield the same results when it is repeatedly administered to the same individuals under the same conditions. So this you can take one example as my blood pressure monitoring equipment is one example. So same way, if you give a questionnaire to an individual, they should also record their response or give you the answer consistently. Okay, so then the result is reliable. So for example, if a coronavirus patient is asked in a questionnaire, did you get coronavirus? In one questionnaire he says yes, and in another questionnaire he says no, then the person is not reliable and your questionnaire is not reliable. Okay, so that is what reliability is all about. If a research is not reliable, then it has no value. So the reliability of a research as well as the research tool is very, very important for it to carry any value. So another example is, if a test is given to a student or a learner, and then the same test is given to the learner after 15 days without any other coaching. Okay, so what score will the student get? He will get a similar score. even if the test is given after a few days, the person will get the almost similar score. Okay, because the person has not changed, the question has not changed, the test has not changed, the environment has not changed, only the duration has changed. So the answers should all be the same. So similarly is the reliability of any test. So it should be giving the same answer, or if a machine is used, it should be giving the same values, or if a research is done, it should have the same values whenever it is done, before or after the particular time period. So then that research will be reliable, and the tool that is used by you is reliable. So reliability is a very important factor for any research or research tool. So that means it is the results are consistent, that is there is no deviation because of various factors. So that is one important criteria when you select a research tool. The reliability of the tool is very important, especially when you do research, you use somebody else's tool. Like there is already a tool on the internet, or somebody else has created a tool, you are using that tool for your research, then the tool should be reliable. So you have to check for reliability of the tool through literature's review, and then if the tool is reliable, you can use it. Or if you are creating a new tool for your own research, then you have to make sure that you do a pilot test to verify that the tool is reliable. Then only you can go to your main research and use the tool for your research purposes. Okay, so hope you understood the importance of reliability and its applicability in a research scenario. Next, we will be studying about validity. So what is validity? Again, validity we saw yesterday. What is validity is nothing but it should measure what it claims to measure. For example, a blood pressure machine, what does it measure? It measures the BP. So there is a systolic pressure and a diastolic pressure. Okay, so it should measure both systolic and diastolic. Same way, we have a lot of pulse oximeters these days. Okay, people are using it randomly because of the coronavirus. So it should measure the oxygen saturation in your tissues. So it should measure what it claims to measure. If the oxygen saturation is 200 or 0 in a normal person, then you can say that there is no validity. The machine is not measuring what it is supposed to measure. Okay, so I am just giving this also as an example, just for you to understand. So if any tool measures what it is claiming to measure, then it is valid. Okay, so that is an important aspect that you have to understand. So another example is, if there is a test, okay, for a student in nutrition, okay, it should have questions based on nutrition. It should ask about carbohydrates, proteins and other things. It should not ask what are the vowels, what are the adverbs, verbs. So it should not ask English grammar. Okay, so you understand the difference. So a nutrition exam should have questions on nutrition, then only it can measure the knowledge of students in nutrition. Whereas the English test should measure the language or English knowledge of a student. A nutrition test cannot measure the English language. So you understand the difference. So a valid instrument measures what it claims to measure. So if you are using a particular research tool, it should measure what you want the tool to measure. For example, if you are going to check whether a person, sorry, one second. So the tool should measure whatever it is supposed to measure. Okay, so there are three types of validity that we can think of. One is the content validity, then the criteria related validity, and construct validity. Let us see what each of these is in detail. Also, what is content validity? So any research tool has content in it, and it should be relevant for the research. Okay, so a tool that has undergone a lot of comments from experts, and they have different people have used it, and they have concluded that it actually measures what it is supposed to measure. So different people's judgment is there, and analysis has been done. Okay, then we can say that it has content validity. The tool has content validity. The other way we can express content validity is rational or logical validity, or also face validity. Okay, so it should measure what it is supposed to measure, and it has been judged by several experts in the same field, and analysis of the objectives of the subject has been done and has been tested. So it has already been tested and it has been validated. Then we can say that it has, or the tool has, content validity. The next type of validity is criteria related validity. So based on the name itself, we can say that there is some criteria. Okay, so the first part of criteria related validity is the predictive validity. What is predictive validity? See, predictive means you can make a prediction, or you can assess something before it happens. Okay, one simple way of explaining that, and also it's given in the example in the notes, is when you are giving a test for a 12th standard candidate entrance exam. You all went through the entrance exam. So in your entrance exam, we asked questions which were related to the medical course. For example, you had studied in your 12th standard in biology about proteins, protein energy malnutrition, diseases like kwashiorkor, and scurvy. So all these diseases you had studied. You had studied about hypermetropia, myopia, that is long sight and short sight. So all these things you had studied in your 12th standard. So when we had the entrance exam, we asked questions which were related to the subject. So we asked about myopia, hypermetropia. So that means if you are clear in the question, and if you understand the question, and if you answer correctly, then we can predict that you would do well in your academics in the college also, because it's a medical related course. So that is how we can predict, based on your performance in the entrance test, you will do well in college because it is similar subject. Okay, so this type of validity is called predictive validity. We create a tool which can predict your performance in a future test. Okay, so that is predictive validity. So then there is something called as concurrent validity. So in a concurrent validity, what we are using is when there are two tools. For example, all of you know about SALSA scale, P scale, which people are using in the for the leprosy patients in physiotherapy department. In your first year, you would have studied about P scale and SALSA scale. You would have gone to your postings and you would have understood. So you know that P scale has got different number of questions and SALSA scale has got different number of questions. If you want to create a new scale which is similar to the P scale or SALSA scale, then you can create a new one. Okay, nobody is preventing us from creating a new scale, but the SALSA scale and P scale has been validated by many people. So your new scale also should be validated. Okay, why do you want to create a new scale? Because you think the old one is very difficult to use, or it is not useful in the present conditions, or whatever reason. You have created a new tool and you have to check the validity of that tool also. Okay, so then you have to put the tool through the same process and validate it. If it is validated, it can replace the existing tool. Okay, by tool, don't get confused by the words which we use. Tool abdina, it's nothing but your questionnaire, the P scale questions that you use, that is the tool. It's not a hammer or anything like that. Okay, don't think of a tool means that kind of tool. So questionnaire which you use to collect data is called a tool. Okay, so here you are using a new questionnaire which you created instead of the P scale or SALSA scale. So then you compare it by giving it to the same group, both the scales you give, the P scale or SALSA scale and your new scale which you have created instead of one of those scales. Okay, as a replacement. if both the tools, that is the existing one which has already been validated and the new one that you have created in its place, both are giving similar answers when it is used for samples, then you can say your new tool has established concurrent validity. That is, it is very similar in results to the existing tool. So that is very important. So these two, the predictive validity and the concurrent validity, together are called criteria related validity, because they are based on certain criteria. Okay, the validity is based on certain criteria, either it is predictive or it is concurrent. Okay, so this is called criteria related validity. Finally, the third type of validity is the construct validity. Okay, what is a construct validity? It is a trait or an attribute or quality that cannot be observed directly but can be inferred or deciphered or identified from testing. So if you cannot observe a quality or attribute directly, then by putting that something through a test, you are inferring, then it is a construct validity. For example, all of your behavior when you join college, before you join college, you had an interview. So what questions were asked in the interview? Questions were asked about your family, about your behavior, about your preferences. So we cannot directly ask you if you are a good person or a bad person, because then we'll get an answer which is biased. You will tell always good things about yourself, but without being able to observe you for a long time, through our questions we were able to assess whether you are a good person or a bad person. Okay, I'm not saying a bad person, good person who is fit for the course or a person who is not fit for the course. That's a better way of putting it. So that observation or inference by asking questions on things that we were not able to observe directly in you, that kind of thing is called construct validity. Okay, so it tests or measures one particular trait or attribute or construct. That is why it's called construct validity. Construct means a trait or an attribute. Okay, or see, in construction, our human body is like a construction. It's made of different parts. So we are testing a specific trait in you or a specific attribute in a person, or in a research we are testing a particular thing, and if we are able to measure that, then we call it a construct validity. So this is very, very important, especially to check psychological traits and abilities. Okay, even in an interview we use this construct validity to check the ability of a person to fit into the job, or ability of a student to cope with the course. So all these psychological traits and abilities are tested using these construct validities. Some of the other things that we can decipher or identify through our questioning or through a research or through other aspects which are tested for construct are anxiety, intelligence, motivation, attitude, critical thinking. So all these are mental aspects or psychological aspects. So this can be verified through we cannot directly observe and say, just by looking at a person we cannot say the person is anxious or intelligent or motivated. So we are using a questionnaire, or we give some test, or we use a tool to check if the person is anxious or intelligent or motivated. Okay, so this kind of verification about the trait of a person through using a tool is called construct validity. Okay, so hope you understood this topic on reliability and validity. Next topic we will study in the next class is about objectivity and practicability. Okay, thank you.